everybody. Welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel, I'm going to be bringing you a review of my favorite horror film of all time. This is one that I was really excited for when it was announced. And thanks to Cluzy's 4K Movie Corner, Lee over there in the UK, he was kind enough to send me yet another film. The last video I did, he sent me Bloodsport, which was not available in the US on 4K. And today he sent me something very special, and that is The Exorcist in 4K. This is the 4-disc set that the UK got that we did not. The nice thing is that all 4 discs are region free, and on top of that, the movie includes the original theatrical version and the extended director's cut on Blu-ray as well as 4K, along with a ton of special features that come on those Blu-rays. Why this isn't available in the States outside of a extremely expensive collector's edition, I have no idea, but this is definitely the superior version here, and I am so thankful to have it. Again, big thank you to Lee over at Cluzy's 4K Movie Corner. He has been a long-time subscriber and just a really good friend. So he is on Instagram, and I'll put his handle down below here so you can go follow him on there. Just an excellent guy, and this is just an amazing release here. So I'm very glad to have the complete version that we, for some reason, just did not get here in the United States. So today I'm going to be reviewing the picture quality, the audio quality, and the special features that came with this version. I'll also talk about what the American release has as well. The good news is that the 2 4K discs that are included in this version that I have here are exactly the same as the ones that came out here in the United States. So you have the original theatrical version in 4K with HDR10 and Dolby Atmos, which is a huge thing. The Dolby Atmos mix, we'll get into that a little bit later. And then you have the extended director's cut, which is also in HDR10 with Dolby Atmos as well. So for this review, I ended up watching the theatrical version and just a little bit of the extended director's cut. And for picture quality wise, I am very happy to say that this transfer on this disc is outstanding. Now, it is a little bit jarring if you've seen this movie before. The introduction of the film that's set in Iraq is so much more vivid now than it used to be. The oranges, the browns, the reds, everything is extraordinarily more vibrant now. It is shocking to see, to be honest with you, right from the opening shot. Even the credits now, the red credits are so much more vibrant now. Everything about the film has been stepped up in a lot of ways. Now, once that intro is done, once that first sequence in Iraq is done, and it goes to Georgetown, the movie takes on a much cooler color tone. And that color tone is primarily blue. Now, I know some of you may be worried. There have been quite a lot of films in the past where that blue is very unsettling. Sometimes it's overpowering. The one thing I liked about this transfer is that it does stay true to the original color palette of the film. There are some very dark sequences where the only light that's coming in is from like a window and it's moonlight. That light now looks pretty blue. Whether or not that's what was intended, it never really looked like that before, but honestly, it kind of adds to the ambiance, and I didn't mind it very much. All the rest of the colors for the remainder of the film are enhanced, but they're not as vibrant as that introductory scene in Iraq. It is really impressive, though. The skin tones are incredible now. You can really see just how pale Ellen Burstyn gets progressively through the movie. Her bruises and stuff are much more apparent. uh, Linda Blair's makeup now, the fact that that holds up in 4K after 50 years is truly an achievement. It still looks terrifying. The pea soup vomit, that that thing now, it is a very, very olive dark green color, and it's much more pronounced than it was before. um, Anything like that, any kind of color that was there before is still there, but it's just enhanced a little bit more than it was before. And I really like it when movies do that. Like I said, the color palette as a whole after that introductory sequence is definitely cooler than it used to be, but it matches the surroundings and it matches the shift of the film, especially in location. So I really didn't mind it that much. Again, it's very true to the original look of the film. It never really escapes that. It's not like the whole movie has a blue filter on it. It's just the color palette is definitely more cooler than I remember. There is one really great scene where Ellen Burstyn goes into the attic and her little candle explodes. That flame is now this brilliantly bright orange and yellow color now. And anything like that just kind of jumps out at you now. It's really impressive how they did this. And the dark, the dark scenes, the really, really dark scenes, the black levels look amazing. Black levels on this disc are some of the best I've ever seen. The aforementioned scene with Ellen Burstyn in that attic is so dark now. You can still make out what's happening. It's not like it's crushed or anything like that, but it is definitely a whole hell of a lot darker than it used to be. And it really helps that creepy factor. Any scene where there's darkness now, it's so much darker than it used to be, but it's not to the point where you can't see what's happening. It's just that HDR is really working overtime, making sure those black levels are balanced just right. And I was very impressed with that. The grain structure of the film is also intact. They did not use any kind of digital noise reduction. The grain is like a light to medium. It's a very filmic look, and I'm glad they kept that. If they really DNR'd the crap out of this movie, you would lose that detail level in, Linda Blair's makeup. And I'm glad they didn't go that far. It really looks great. I actually ended up watching this movie with my mom, funny enough, who has not seen this movie in quite a few years. And she was actually in a theater in 1973 to see this movie. She saw this movie on opening weekend, and it terrified the crap out of her. So I really wanted to put her through that misery one more time. And so we watched it together. And the one thing that really hit me was that she told me, she said, "This looks better now than it did when I saw it in the theater 50 years ago." And that was really, really impressive. She loved the look of it. And her endorsement goes a long way with me because, again, I was not even a thought when this movie came out. So, very impressive work by Warner Brothers with this transfer. I enjoyed it. And most importantly, my mom enjoyed it. So, way to go, Warner Brothers. Other version that I didn't watch the entirety of, but I watched a good chunk of it, is that extended director's cut. The picture quality on that is exactly the same. I didn't notice any sort of variance between the two. There are some added scenes. Those scenes have also been completely restored. There are a couple little gimmicky add-on things that they put in. To be honest with you, my favorite version of the film kind of flip-flops. I'm really more particular now to the original version than I am the director's cut. I go back and forth, but uh, seeing the two versions now in 4K, they both look fantastic. They've both been completely restored. You can't go wrong with either one of them. So thankfully, they did a great job on both, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic picture. Now, as for the audio, this is where this gets really crazy. Both versions of the film on 4K now have a brand new Dolby Atmos mix. And I have to say that Dolby Atmos mix is really, really impressive. I was blown away by how immersive and creepy that new audio mix is. The overheads are used really, really well. There are a couple instances where there's sounds coming from the attic near the beginning of the film. That is now really, really creepy because it does sound like something's moving around above you. Very unsettling. The surrounds are used perfectly when there's noise in the background, a little creepy ambient noises all throughout. Very well done. The dialogue is crystal clear. Tubular Bells sounds amazing. The other sound effects are very, very loud. They really, really did a good job of placing everything well. And, again, it's a really, really good and very immersive sound mix. I was very impressed with how good of a job they did with this. This is one of the better remixes of an older film that I have heard in a while. I mean, they really went above and beyond with this one. And the fact that they were able to keep the original kind of feel of the audio, but also enhance it greatly and make it even scarier is really impressive to me because this film, the audio in this film to me has always been amazing. And the fact that they were able to expand that now to that Dolby Atmos is really impressive. The old 5.1 was not that bad at all, but this is a huge improvement. The other thing I want to mention is if you're not fond of, the remixed audio, the original theatrical version does come with the original. I think it's a mono track actually. Yes, so it's a DTS HD mono track. It's a 2.0 split mono. Warner Brothers has been doing this a lot with their 4K re-releases of their older films, and is pretty much the original audio track, only split into the left and right front speakers to make it a little bit clearer, a little bit louder. So that was really cool that they included that as well. But again, that split mono track is only on the original theatrical version. The extended director's cut, it only has the Dolby Atmos mix. As for the special features on this, in the United States, sadly, we only got the two commentary tracks, which were a commentary by William Friedkin, may he rest in peace, and the commentary track by the screenwriter and producer William Peter Blatty, may he also rest in peace. It is nice that they did include those. It's kind of a bummer that we didn't get the other special features here in the United States because the two Blu-ray discs that are included in this have a ton of stuff on them. There's a full 3-part documentary on the production and the legacy of the film. There's a ton of theatrical trailers. On the extended cut, there is a little featurette on the different versions of the film, and there's much more than that. They're all holdovers from previous Blu-ray releases, but it's nice to have the complete set of everything in one little collection here. I was very, very impressed with this. Again, big, big thank you to Lee over at Clusley's 4K Movie Corner for sending this over to me. Again, a great guy. I cannot thank him enough, and definitely go follow him on Instagram. As for The Exorcist here, if you do want to buy it in 4K, which I highly, highly recommend, this is a phenomenal release from Warner Brothers. I am going to leave a link in the description below that goes to Amazon where you can pick it up. That version, again, is only going to have the two 4K discs, but it's very, very much worth it, especially if you're a fan of this film. You are absolutely going to love this release. That was an excellent, excellent transfer of an amazing horror film that's going to live on forever. I don't ever see this movie going out. And now that there's a new sequel coming out in a few weeks, Exorcist Believer, I'm, keeping my expectations in check. The Exorcist has kind of been infamous for not having too many great sequels. I think really the only one worth watching is the third one, which also has a phenomenal 4K release. Well, that's it for today for Kavanaugh's Corner. I just want to say thank you all very much. And if you like this review, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel below. We've been growing exponentially recently. Big thank you to all those that have been subscribed and are newly subscribed. I would not be able to do this without you. I really, really appreciate it. And until next time, please stay safe and take it easy.